Welcome back, traders. This is Mike from Vant Trading. Week number 2 in the beginning day traders course, class number 5, the Holy Grail of Trading. This is a class that really, is going to draw. It's going to draw the most attention. Just the name, the Holy Grail of Trading. But just like a lot of trading books, it's a lot of people when they start getting into the content of this course. We're going to get the biggest fall off. But really, when we say the Holy Grail of Trading, it's something that traders, especially beginning traders, even some experienced traders, are caught looking for, trying to find that Holy Grail. We're going to get into that whole process. And, I truly believe this week is going to be the most important week in terms of classes for you guys becoming successful at day trading. We went, again, what we went over last week, it was really important, talking about the habit of discipline, talking about, the beginning stages, what sets a successful day trader apart from a non-successful day trader. We talked about the numbers. The key, it's repetition is mother of all skill. So we're going to repeat some things in here, but we're really going to get, roll up our sleeves, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be successful. First off, it's a new week. It's week number 2 of a 5-week course. And again, hopefully you have gone through, did all the exercises. You should have 2 sections to your trading plan already built out. Okay, you should have gone through, you should have your journal filled up, you should be going through the classes again and again, because again, that repetition is really key. And you should have a discipline plan, okay? You should have a daily schedule that you're working off of. And again, if you need examples, please info@vanttrading.com. Just drop me a note and I'll get you some examples on that stuff. So moving forward this week, the habit that is going to be important for you guys that we're going to hammer upon is mindfulness, okay? Mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Well, it's a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's thoughts and feelings. Now let's break that up, okay? Mindfulness, it's so important in trading. It's about being present. Especially as traders, there's a lot of things that are happening when you're trading. And as a new trader, you maybe haven't, if you haven't traded live with real money, you really haven't experienced trading. For those of you that have traded live with real money, look, I'm telling you, man, I've been trading for over 20 years, right? And I still elicit a response, and I'm about as prepared as you can be going into the trading day. So, when we talk about mindfulness, it's about putting yourself up above, right? If you could really float above outside your body and be looking down, that to me is what mindfulness is. Like you're in the present. There's no conceived ideas or biases. You have a high level of awareness. And in trading, mindfulness is, it's kind of a new term that really has been introduced maybe over the last 10 to 15 years into some educational books. But, it's really one of the key tools that you need to have to really battle the psychological part of trading. And, to be able to analyze a stock, to be able to analyze the market, you need to be above the fray. It's kind of like trading to me is kind of like, you're going into battle, okay? And when you're in the trenches, the opening bell is rung, or you're in the pre-market trade like we were in this morning, shorting Myrna, right? You're in the battle, so the pressure's on, you see the ticks going up and down. Hopefully you've learned by now that you don't have your P&L up, but if you do, you're watching your account go up and down. And, you're really in the heat of the battle. So mindfulness is about pulling yourself up above that fray. Every tick isn't live or die, okay? But a lot of us traders, we elicit this stressed response. Once we enter into trades, that it's hard for you to really truly analyze the market, analyze the conditions of the trade you're in to really have a successful trade. So it's really important, right? So, and we're talking about, the fears and emotions that traders go through. And one of the things, the next 2 days are going to be so important because we're really going to break those down, right? And we're going to break down how to create a process, right, as you trade so you're not experiencing all these fears and emotions. Now, there's a common fallacy out there, and I'll tell you this, I'm going to tell you this tomorrow. The goal of eliminating emotions from trading is impossible. That's not the goal, okay? You can't eliminate emotions in your trading. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, that's the goal. I always hear people, we got to not be emotionless. You got to be like a computer. No, you're a human being. You're always going to be processing stuff through your brain, and you're always going to be processing stuff with emotions. The key is to have a system in place that sets a filter so you can control those emotions, and that's what we're talking about with mindfulness, right? You got to be able to see the forest through the trees, and you got to be able to make sure that you're making an analysis of free of biases and judgments, okay, based off your internal belief systems, beliefs that really, until today, you probably didn't even know you had. Now, the tool we have to use to really help us battle and be successful in achieving mindfulness is meditation, okay? And the best way, I've been meditating now for about 10 years. And to me, the best way to describe meditation is it's the manual to how your mind works, right? You've been given this great body, this great gift of life, and you got this great mind, right? I mean, it's such a blessing if you think about it. How we got here and how we're put together, and the whole universe and all that stuff, right? I don't want to get too deep on you, but the problem is we have this awesome piece of machinery up in our head, right? Everything is controlled in our body from our mind. The problem is nobody gave us a manual how to use that mind. And to me, meditation is really the key to gaining control of your mind. So if you want to achieve mindfulness in your life, not just in trading, if you want to be able to be calm, you ever notice some people are very calm, very, collective, right? They're not frantic, and you can see situations start occurring around them, and these people are just like, very just matter of fact. It's a good chance that they have a good control of their mind and their emotions, and one way of achieving that is through meditation. Okay, so the benefit of meditations, let's go through that. It's, heightened clarity of the market environment. So, if you're going through meditating and you're trying to achieve this mindfulness, right, it's going to help you with clarity. It's also going to help you with clarity in your trading, okay, because this habit is so important. It really, though, if you break it down, what it does, it helps you create a distance from a thought or feeling to an action. So what they talk about, and I encourage you, if you're looking for recommendations on how to learn to meditate, just drop me a line. Again, I got a bunch of books. It's not that complicated, believe it or not. But they talk about, when they talk about introducing meditation, is they talk about getting and accessing the pause between your thoughts. Right? There's this little pause, that area where that's where, true bliss is, right? And so a lot of us, we, see something happen, or something happens to us, or a trade happens, and automatically it elicits a response, a emotion, and that emotion elicits a trigger. We don't even know set up, and that trigger is automatically tied to an action. And so what happens is we don't even realize it, but we've been triggered, and we go and do this action, and it may not be an empowering action, or incur this feeling, and it may not be an empowering feeling, and we don't even know that we were triggered to do that. And a lot of these triggers, some you may realize, some you may not. So really what meditation does, it helps you, it puts a space in that to where you can actually recognize an action, you can recognize something happen, you can still have a response being elicited as far as an emotion, but there's still that space. It gives you time to actually make sure you have an empowering action that follows. Okay, so meditation is going to let you focus on the here and now. Okay, it helps recognize any change of state, and it quiets your internal dialogue. We all have an internal dialogue that is talking to us constantly. And, sometimes we don't even realize this dialogue. And a lot of times, for some people, this dialogue is like negative, right? Oh, you suck, man. You're a horrible trader. You're just, you're not, you do this all the time. Well, the problem is, this mind you have will believe whatever it tells you. It's very gullible, right? And whatever you tell the mind, it believes. So if it doesn't care about facts, right? So if you say that you suck as a trader or you do this all the time, then what happens? Your mind starts to believe that, and you're creating this negative internal influence on yourself and making it harder. So meditation will help you quiet that internal dialogue, maybe notice that internal dialogue a little bit more, and it'll help you bring a little bit more clarity. And it really is good at reducing anxiety and negative emotions. See, when you meditate, you can actually, it has a positive effect on your blood pressure. So you can actually lower your blood pressure just by meditating. And meditating is really easy, guys. It's very simple. If you wanted to get started meditating tonight after this show, this is what you do. You sit down in a nice, peaceful state. Okay, you typically want your feet, kind of tied to the ground a little bit, right? Like you're a tree. You want to be comfortable. You don't be so comfortable that you're lying down, but you want to have your back straight. And you just want to sit in peace. Close your eyes, okay? Take deep diaphragmatic breaths, which means, look, the majority of us don't breathe properly. So when I say deep diaphragmatic breaths, it means when you breathe in, you're breathing deep from the diaphragm and it's expanding out. And then when you breathe in, it goes, it comes in. So you want to breathe deep, nice and slow, close your eyes. And the goal isn't to eliminate thoughts. Just like emotions, you cannot eliminate thoughts, okay? You can't do it. No, with meditation, the goal is not to eliminate thoughts. It's to recognize any thoughts that come in. You're just sitting there with your eyes closed, and you start off, notice your breathe, how you breathe. Notice the breaths that come in, how your diaphragm expands, the breath goes out, and the diaphragm goes in. Follow that breath and watch and see how your whole body reacts to that breath. And as you're focusing on your breath, if any thoughts will start coming in, recognize that thought as a thought and then let it go. Okay? And I'm going to give you a secret. You're going to suck at this in the beginning. Right? Next thing you know, you're gonna be trying to do this thing, right? And then you're gonna be thinking about pizza, or you're gonna be thinking about that movie you watched last night, and you may not even realize it. You go, oh man, I've just been thinking for the last 2 minutes about the movie I watched last night, right? So in the beginning, it's gonna be like that. So the goal in the beginning, if you're gonna start meditation, just set a goal each day. Say, look, today I'm gonna meditate for a minute. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to add a minute each day. And to the first week, I got 5 minutes in, right? And then week number 2, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes, right? And then get to the point, maybe stay at 10 minutes till you get good at that, right? And then go to 15 minutes. So we incorporate meditation and visualization on our trading floor for all of our traders throughout the day. So at 9:15, we will do a meditation, kind of a visualization. That's more of a visualization, but it involves the same meditative deep breathing before we trade. And we have our traders actually visualize the trading day. Visualize the actual stocks going up. Visualize your trades. Visualize you reacting to these trades, right? So we have our traders do that, on the floor. And then what we'll do is at 3 o'clock, no, at about 2:45, we have our traders, and all our traders throughout the different offices, they will all then start meditating, and we'll do a meditation going into the afternoon hours. So we do a meditation during the day, right? And then we encourage all of our traders to be meditating in the morning. I do a priming sequence that includes visualization on gratitude, visualization on my goals, and I incorporate some meditative state as well in the morning, and then also meditate at night. So meditation is really important. We teach this habit to all of our traders. If you were to come work for us and trade for us, be on our desk, that's one of the first habits we're going to make sure that you understand and respect right out of the gate. So learn how to meditate. That's important. Another thing is, when it comes to meditation and mindfulness is, look, trading, you are a peak performer. Okay. You're like any other athlete, man. It all comes down to the state that you're in. So what I want you guys to do, okay, I want you to learn how to get into a peak state. Because when you sit down and trade, a lot of people, man, I've seen a bunch of traders, and I'll walk through and I'll see people like, they got food sitting on the desk, they got Coke, they got drinks, they got this, they got that. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And, when a new trader comes in and does that, I usually throw the stuff on the floor. I'm like, look, let me ask you a question. If you were a football player and, the game's getting ready to be kicked off, okay, the ball's getting kicked off, and, are you going to have a hot dog sitting there eating a hot dog on the sideline when you're getting ready to go in the game? Absolutely not. You're a peak performer, and you need to be in a peak state of mind going into a trade, okay? And a lot of people don't even know what that is. First off, you got to know what a peak state is. A peak state is a heightened sense of awareness, number one, okay? Think how a body is. Think how, there's a lot of things you can do to put you in a peak state. Think about it like this. If you're frowning, are you going to feel happy? No. Okay, just the idea of frowning, making a frowny face makes you sad. If you ball up your fist and you're really holding them tight and clenching them, are you happy or are you angry more? You're angry, right? So you want to understand what a peak state is. Then you want to do something to anchor in that state so you can go to that state at any point. I told you before, we sent a bunch of people to an Anthony Robbins seminar, and we did a leadership one in Hawaii. I recommend anybody that is serious about trading needs to be serious about their self-improvement. Okay, got to take that serious, man. There's no better investment than investing in yourself. Anthony Robbins, one of them. He's one of the top performers out there. And, we learned a long time ago, dude, look, I make this move, I pound my chest, and I automatically have anchored I'm in a peak state. So people usually, they don't know me, and they'll sit down and they'll look at our traders on the desk because we teach this stuff, right? And they'll sit there and someone will hit their chest like that, and people will walk through some gas. They're like, what's that person doing? He looks like a mental person. No, what he's doing is he's anchored in. He's doing his move to get himself in that peak state. So know what a peak state is. You're a performer, right? You're just like an elite athlete. You gotta be in that peak state. Okay. Well, enough of the mindfulness and the meditation and stuff like that. It is important. That's why we spend so much time on these habits. Last week was discipline. Okay, this week's mindfulness, and we're going to have you meditating and a meditation plan by the end of the week. So don't worry about that stuff. Okay, let's get into the holy grail of trading, because I know that's the hook that people are looking at. But I can tell you this right now, okay? This truly, the next 2 days, okay, will be the holy grail of trading, okay? Beyond a shadow of a doubt, okay? The problem is going to be, okay, the problem is not teaching people to understand the stuff we're going to go over. The problem is teaching them to believe that it's important for them to go over. And so let me ask you a question. Have you ever picked up a trading book? Okay, and we always recommend, there's a bunch of them we recommend. One of them is Vant, right? And he's kind of one of the ultimate gurus out there, but he's more of he's a really good trader, and he's got a good system. But the first quarter of his book, right? You open up this trading book, and he's talking about know yourself and all this other stuff. Admit to yourself that you have at least once gone open up a trading book to read it, and you've skipped the first 3 to 4 chapters and went right to the back part, to the meat and potatoes. Everybody does it. I did it before I actually realized what the success of trading was. So, we're going to lose some of you during this period, okay? But, if you master the next 2 days, I almost guarantee that you are going to be a successful trader, okay? The key is, what's the holy grail? You. You are the holy grail of trading. I gave you the success formula before. It's 90% psychological, 10% skill. Okay, we've gone through this before. Okay, I would almost say it's almost 100% psychological. Okay, it's a psychological game. It's the same thing in performance, athletics. You need to be on the top of your game. You need to know who you are, and we're going to go through that today. Now, Jack Swagger he wrote a book series called Market Wizards. I recommend it. Definitely read it. He interviewed the elite of elite traders. Okay, and so you get a bunch of different perspectives from some of the best traders in the world. And when he interviewed these traders, he found that there was one common theme that was really important. And the common theme was that they each had a trading plan that was tailored around their skill set. They each knew their weaknesses. They each knew their successes as far as their strengths. And they all basically said it. They were the most important factor in being successful. Okay, again, being successful at anything, if you look at NLP, you got to model what successful people do. If you want something in life, you want to be a great trader, or you want to be, a great person, have a great relationship, be a great husband or wife, well, then to get there, the quickest way and the best way is to take somebody that is successful at what you want, that is getting what you want, and model them. Do exactly what they do, their processes, their setups, their whole, just model them. And that's what this course is about. Man, this course is about, you get to pick the brain of, people that have been doing this for over 20 some years through several different market crashes and through several different market, bull markets and bear markets. Right? So it's interesting, man. We started with like 6 people that, the reason we did this course, because, we were getting a lot of people that wanted to, hey, Mike, teach me how to trade. 2 people were in the Sunday meeting. And, it was just interesting. So, if you want, you want to make sure that you get the juice out of everything. And success is about, following the little things, doing the little things, and this is part of the little things. Now, the secret of the market is this. I can give you the most popular trade setup. I'll give it to you right now, man. 80% success rate. I know a really popular $1 million trader that publishes his results online. I can show you the best trade setup that has an 80% success rate. You look for a stock that has a news catalyst. You got a 20% gap up. You got an R-vol at 2.5 or more. You hit a break of the pre-market. You got a 3-bar pattern of the 5-minute chart. 80% success rate on that, and you're gonna bang it into a nice little trade. But the problem is that strategy attracts thousands of speculators, and the majority fail. And worse yet, the majority of them blow their account out. Why? I thought, Mike, you said it had an 80% success rate. Because they don't know how to protect their capital. They're not taught that. If the market goes against them, they don't know when to take profits. They don't know how much to buy or sell, what position sizing is. They don't know what environment it works and which one it doesn't work in. So the key is, you can have the best strategy in the world, but, it doesn't mean that you're going to be a successful trader. And we talked about this in the last class, right? We talked about it where, we started talking about the typical trader path. And the typical trader, we'll go through it again, finds a system, they start paper trading, it's got a huge win rate. That's what all new traders are looking for, man, because, they got to self-validate themselves. And they paper trade it, 90% win rate, and then they start trading live, and they actually may make some money with it, but then they ultimately lose. Right? And then, so what do? They go online, they look for an indicator or something that's going to help them make that distinction that they didn't have to help them stop from losing that money, right? And then they trade some more, they lose more money, and then they lose again, and they pay a guru, right? Pay a couple $1,000s, get a course, and, what they're doing is they're in the search for what we call the Holy Grail, okay? They're searching for the Holy Grail, and they blow out their account. I mean, that is the problem, right? That's the problem. And, traders are searching for that Holy Grail, and that's why, we use the term, because, it happens all the time. I see it, man. Everybody, and so what are they doing? They're focusing on the wrong thing. We went over the success formula. It's 90% psychological, 10% skill. Well, what are they focusing on? The 10%. Okay? It's not technical. It's not. It's all psychological. Okay? And the problem is most people are lazy. They don't want to do the small things. They don't want to do the non-sexy things. They want to, they've been seduced into this retail trader mindset of, hey, there is something out there that people are using. I need to find out what that thing they're using is to be successful. I have traders accuse me of holding back on my system because they think that, I'm afraid it's going to get used up. I mean, come on, people. I mean, that's not what it's about, man. I mean, I see all this bullshit out there about, teaching people and focusing on this 10%. And, it's just, I told you, Vant actually did a study where he figured that he could, create this, this trading system, a profitable trading system, by throwing a dart at a board. So he went the 100% psychological route. And you know what? He actually proved it correctly. He was able to create a trading system that was a profitable trading system, throwing a dart at a dartboard to pick the stock. Don't get seduced, okay? There is tons of people out there trying to sell you this and try to sell you that and doing this and that. I always wonder, it's like, if you're that successful at trading, why are you trying to sell all this stuff, right? So, we're a little bit different. We're looking for traders to trade our money, right? We're looking for maybe that diamond in the rough. We want to see some successful traders. We want to see you guys become successful. So, we're not in this to make money. And again, there's a lot of really, really good educators out there. I'll recommend that. I can give you a list of recommendations that I personally have, and there's some good people to follow, and they have their place. But there's also a lot of people not to follow. So you got to be careful what you let into your brain. So the question is there a Holy Grail out there that has such secrets? The answer is yes. Yes, there is. And, to really understand what that Holy Grail is, I'm going to take you through, you got to understand the mythology of the typical Grail quest to really understand it, right? We've seen it in movies, Indiana Jones, looking for the Holy Grail, it's typically a religious story, but they all have some of the same underpinnings, right? It's folklore and stories, searching for, that enlightenment, that perfectionism. Why are they typically looking for the Holy Grail? They're looking for it to find that, that be oneness either with God or that oneness with themselves, and like I said, it's typically a spiritual path, right? The key though is in the Holy Grail is, you start out looking for the Holy Grail, it's a neutral position, right? So, you're looking, you have some self-awareness in there in this quest, right? And when you're talking about trading and you're looking at the Holy Grail, it's really, it's self-awareness is developed between good and evil when you're talking about the mythology. When trading, it's self-awareness that's being developed between fear and greed. Fear and greed are two emotions and traits that will affect your trading more than anything I know. And the quest, the true Grail quest, is to get yourself back into balance, right? Great traders emerge accepting both the positive and the negative. They're truly in balance, and they find that special place where they can just be. Great traders, they don't get caught up in the emotion of, profits and losses. Okay, we talked about this. This is why, we talked about not having your P&L up there. The P&L is the result of what you get, right? It's the way I want to kind of say it like this, right? It's kind of like a symptom is the P&L of what you're doing, right? So when you're trading to be to have a good trade. You're not trading to make 2%. You're not trading to make money. You already know if you have a good trade, that trade may be a loss. When we go through the review process and we teach you guys to go through the review process, a lot of the trades that you have losses on, you're going to give yourself an A+. You're going to give yourself an A+ because it was a great trade setup. It was a great trade to get in. Guess what? They don't all work. Okay? They don't all work. So great traders understand that. And so they are in typical balance where they are willing to accept profits, losses, because that is not what the end game is. The end game is making one good trade. And S&B Capital, where Nick used to trade, Mike Belfiore has, they're great educators too, one of the good educators. Recommend them definitely, and they're a prop firm. But, he had a book that he put out, One Good Trade. I think that's the name of the book. Don't kill me if it's not. But it's a good book. And it's true. And you couldn't have a better synopsis or a name for a book. One Good Trade. That's what you want. Make a good trade. It's not about profits and losses. See, great traders, they typically don't follow the crowd. They act independently and are typically a contrarian. They buy when others are selling. They sell when others are buying. I'll give you a perfect example, okay? This morning, Moderna came out with, which the market was kind of expecting sometime this week, but they came out pre-market with, their vaccine news. Great news. Okay, a great news, a good fundamental news for a structure change in the market. And of course, we knew exactly how to trade this. We had our trader playbook out. And matter of fact, some of our traders watched me trade it prior in the pre-market. And what were we doing? Were we buying Moderna when it shot up from I think it was 85 to 106? No, guess what? We shorted it 105 pre-market. And then we got out at 102. And then one of our better traders, Nick, actually shorted on the open and got 4 or 5 points on the open. So, while, this is great fundamental news, most retail traders were what? Buying. We had easy money. I consider it easy money, where we just, we shorted that stock. And so we took the money that the retail traders were willing to give us. And that's what we're going to teach you guys, right? We're going to teach you guys, be a contrarian, know when to be a contrarian and when not to be a contrarian. That's the key. Will it always work? No. Okay. We always have profits? No. Okay. Remember, searching for that one good trade. Sir John Templeton, from Templeton Funds, he passed away, I think, a couple years ago. God rest his soul. One of the great traders. Okay, and he had a statement that really hit home for me, and I don't have the exact because I couldn't find the interview before I went online to do this course. Sir John Templeton basically stated that wealth is created when people are afraid and selling. When he first started his trading career, he borrowed, I believe it was like $10,000. It was during either World War I or World War II. I apologize. Look it up. It's a great interview. And he said, you know what? Everybody was selling. And I was like, why is stocks going down? I mean, the country always comes back. And so what he was doing, he was buying. And he said, that's where true wealth is created. And that's what you want, right? You want true wealth. So, he had that right from the beginning, and you got, the Templeton funds are his legacy to this day, right? And so I look back on that, and I always, when we had 2007 and the market crashed during 2007, the financial crisis, it looked bleak. We were going to the next, the money market broke the buck. We were going to go, we were going to take down the whole financial system, okay? But do you really think that was going to happen, right? And so what it was a perfect buying opportunity to create wealth. Same thing, 2020, fast forward, and these happen like cycles. 2020 in March, what happened? The market dropped dramatically. Stocks cratered, right? You had stocks that were just at a deep, deep discount. It looked bleak, but it was another opportunity for wealth, okay? Another opportunity, right? These times of crisis when people are panicked and are selling, that's the time to be creating your wealth. Listen to the great traders, and all great traders, they know themselves and they design a system that fits their strengths and their weaknesses. Okay, so that is the key. So the Holy Grail is knowing yourself. Okay, knowing what your strengths are and actually putting a trading system around your strengths. Okay, professional traders make money in the markets by knowing themselves. That's how you're a good trader, and it's not about some secret system. All right, so what does that look like, knowing yourself, right? Let's get into let's dig deep. What does that look like? How do you know yourself? What does it take? Okay, first off, you need to be open and honest in accessing your strengths and weaknesses. Now, I've been doing this part because we have all our traders go through the same process. And I've been doing this part over and over again with a bunch of different traders. And the key is that, it's interesting. You got to be willing to be open and honest with yourself, right? Now, what I've found during this process is people tend to overestimate what they can do, okay, in a year, and actually underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years. They also tend to look at things way worse than it actually is, okay, or they look at it as way better and they try to sweep it under the rug. Okay, so I don't want you to look at things way worse than they are, okay, but I want you to look at them honestly so you can see exactly where you are. You're going to trade in a style that complements your strengths and minimizes your weaknesses. But you can only do that if you know what they are, okay? So it requires self-reflection, experimentation, and experience. There's no way through it. And you remember when Nick came in and kind of talked about, how he started his trading career. Tyler talked about how he started his trading career. I got a couple more traders throughout this process, experienced traders, that are going to come on and talk about how they started their trading career, so you can kind of see, right? This is an ongoing process to do this. So strengths and weaknesses, okay? You want to kind of look at your belief systems, okay? You're going to look at your personality traits. You're going to look at your environment, your time, and your money, right? That's what you got to look at. It's not just personality traits. It's not just your beliefs. It's your environment. Do you have a day job, right? And do you have time? How much time do you have to put towards the markets? Well, you may not be able to do certain trades, certain styles, right? Don't set yourself up for failure. You may not have money right now, okay? You may only have a small amount of money and are affected by the pattern day trader rule. Well, if that's the case, then you may want to start out something differently. And we always recommend, this is an ongoing process. This is going to change. So as we go through this, you're going to, don't say, oh man, I thought I was going to come in. I really like, scalping. I really like day trading, blah, blah, blah. But, I'm going through this with Mike and it looks like, I should be swing trading right now. Or I should be doing this, so before you make judgments, you're constantly going to be reevaluating, constantly rechanging, and you're going to start off with a good position. See, here's the key. My goal is for you to learn the lessons that I had to go through. Okay, I want you to learn the lessons because the market has a tuition that typically is at least 1 or 2 blown out accounts. My goal is to make sure you don't pay that tuition. Okay, I'm not saying you're not going to have losses, but the goal is if you follow the process, as we say, okay, it's for a reason. And the reason we spend so much time harping on this stuff and going over this stuff that the majority of people think is nonsense, okay, that's why, because I don't want you to have to pay that market tuition. So we're going to get down in deep into it. Okay, you need to be brutally honest and objective. It's the only way it's going to work. Okay. You need to recognize one's own trading psychology because you have to align it with the other components of the trading plan that we talked about. Okay, so your trading method, your trading strategy, all must be developed with your strengths and weaknesses in mind. More so your strengths, okay? We're going to get into that. Brett Steelbarger has a really good, theory on that, and, I got this in this course for you, okay? Trade management is really where your weaknesses. Risk management is where your weaknesses come in. Money management, same thing. And then your overall trading plan, it's got to be incorporated. You can't just be methodical and put a plan together and not think about your strengths and weaknesses. We gave you the key to the trading plan. I think it was in course 3 or 4. Course 3, I think it was. So you can't just go through course 3, do the trading plan, go ahead, do all the sections and think you can do it. No, because you got to go through this part of the process as well. That's why each week we're having you do a portion of your trading plan each week and not just start all of them right out of the gate. See, trading is a business. You got to start, guys, start treating this as you are starting a business, okay? And if you're not excited about that, get out. It's not for you, okay? What we're looking for are people that want to pull consistent alpha out of the market and do this as a business. People that are looking for freedom, right? Whether it's financial, whether it's time, whatever it is you're looking for, this is a business. And if you treat it as a business, you're going to have a different mindset when you attack trading. Okay, it's not about winning trades or being right. Nobody cares whether you're right or wrong. I hate to tell you this. Okay, so your needs, if you're trying to get an emotional need out of trading, stop it. Okay, I'd rather you donate the money to somebody good or go to the casino. Okay, see, a lot of people don't even realize most successful traders only are correct 35 to 50% of the time. That's it. We go back to the dartboard example, right? Most successful traders, let that sink in, are only correct 35 to 50% of the time. Okay? Well, if you're trading is a business, look at that as your net return. Okay? That's what your net return is. It's about profitability. Okay, it's about profitability, okay? It's not about, stroking your ego. It's not about being right. All that bullshit has got you can't bring stuff into trading. So if you're screwed up individually, spend some time on personal improvement. It is well worth it, okay, to be successful in life. Now, profitability, and we talked about this, and this goes to all of life. Okay, so if you don't learn anything else in life, okay, and you go on your life and you don't ever become a trader, I want you to always look at this, okay? Risk is the very first thing. I'm going to teach you how to hold on to your money, okay? because let's say you don't become a trader, you go out, you make tons of money being I don't know, you run a business of some type and you make money, and then you're going to have people come and you're going to want to invest that money, right? Because successful people in the world have multiple streams of income, and we're going to talk about that at the end of this course, not today, but the course. Okay, how to set up multiple streams of income, because that's truly what successful people do, right? And so it's going to take some of the risk and some of the stress out of your trading as well. But when you invest with other people, 99% of the people only look at the glorious return that they could possibly be doing, and they don't look at the risk. If you're going to invest in an investment project, you're going to invest in a development deal, you're going to invest in real estate, you better be looking at the risk first. Profitability is about risk. It's all the same. It's about the numbers. So, profitability, you got to have a coherent, clear, simple, and executable trading plan which creates and sustains an edge. Okay? See, trading plans are the real tool that's going to create your edge for you. I know when we talked about it last week, a lot of you were, Mike, how do I get an edge in trading? How do I get that edge? Okay? We don't even realize it, but a lot of your edge is going to come just from the way you structure your trading plan. Just by following your trading plan. Can you see that, guys? How, just by doing what the successful traders do, that's going to give you an edge, right? But it's not about, you got to go all the way. You can't tiptoe in it. You can't get a little bit pregnant, okay? You either are going to be all in or you're not. You might as well not waste the time. So you can't just put a trading plan together. It has you don't take into consideration your strengths and weaknesses. I see it. I see this stuff all the time, man. First off, getting somebody to do a trading plan, and it's written down trading plan, is that, right there, you knock out 90% of the people. They just they don't want to do it. It's lazy. Okay? No, I can do this. They worked hard for their hard-earned money, right? And yet they want to take things to chance and just throw things out there, right? It's amazing to me. Okay, it's the what's it, Pareto principle? I think it is the 80-20. The 80% are sheep, and it's going to stay sheep because they do what sheep do, right? So don't be a sheep, okay? And I'm not trying to be condescending or anything like that, because it's with a heart of love that I want to see you guys successful. So don't so you have the one group that's just not going to do the trading plan because it's just too much, man, too daunting. Okay, then you got the next group that says, all right, I'll do that trading plan. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll put that stuff down. I'll write it down. But they're not going to go into the whole, strengths and weaknesses part. Well, why do the trading plan? Because now you're not tackling the part that really you could have a mental block, something that is a trigger in there that's going to, basically you're creating a plan that you're never going to follow. Because you're going to follow because you got a trigger that's not in alignment with who you are. Okay? So you want something that's truly in alignment. It's just like your life, right? Everything should be truly in alignment. So, your true win rate, when we talk about win rate, is the success of implementing this trading plan, because that's where you're going to get your edge, okay? And to have that success, you have to mastered trading psychology, and everything must be aligned and in sync, okay? You want to be aligned, in sync, in balance. Now, trading psychology, we said is the most vital component of an overall trading plan. And therefore, knowing thyself becomes necessary. Okay, well, how do you know thyself? Well, let's get into it. Establishing one's own strengths and weaknesses, again, very important in order to make a coherent trading plan with an edge, okay? So, I don't know if you ever started a business or you ever got into a new type of deal, but you might have heard this before. It's called the SWOT analysis. A lot of new business owners, a lot of established business owners, they will do this every year. It's called the SWOT analysis. And what it stands for, you got strengths, so you're analyzing your strengths. You're analyzing your weaknesses, you're analyzing your opportunities, and you're analyzing your threats, right? So you're taking your objective. So you got to know your objective, right? We talked about this, class 1 or 2. You got to know what your objective is. Can't even speak today. So, specify what that is. Okay, what's your objective? Okay, what's your mission? Okay, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to get in and dig in to the factors affecting your objective. And we're not just going to look at internal factors, we're going to look at external factors that are both favorable and unfavorable to achieving this objective. So we're going to look inside, we're going to look outside. Okay, we're going to look at your beliefs. Okay, we're going to look at your personality traits. We're going to look at your environment. We're going to look at, what you have that may be holding you back. Okay. And another thing that we're going to look at is your relationship to money and your relationship with fear and greed. Okay. This is so important. You need to come to terms with your relationship with the beliefs you have about money and with your relationship with fear and greed. Okay? And this is not Gordon Gekko saying greed is good. Okay? Let's talk about money first. A lot of people have some deep-seated beliefs that they don't even know they have about money. And a lot of those beliefs were not, they were not proactively placed there by yourself. A lot of them you've gotten from your parents. A lot of them you've gotten from friends. A lot of them you've gotten from school. Okay? And a lot of them you picked up maybe from freaking TV or the movies. Okay? If you're not successful financially in your life today, you have some issues with your relationship with money. Okay? Now, it's nothing, even successful people have issues with their relationship with money. I see it all the time. Okay? I have my own challenges with money. Okay? The key is, though, you need to understand what your relationship to money is, what those beliefs are. Are you spending more than you bring in? Are you paying yourself first with any money you come in? I'm not talking about trading. I'm talking about life in general. What is your relationship with money now? Okay? Because you're going to bring those traits, those beliefs into your relationship, into your business with trading. Okay? And we want to analyze them before you allow them to screw you up. Okay? So sit down, subject number 1, and write this down in your journal. Understand what your beliefs and relationships are with money. Okay? Good, bad, or indifferent. Just understand what they are. And then next thing I want you to do is write down in your journal, what is your relationship with fear and greed? Okay? And this is going to be a little bit of a harder one, right? How greedy are you? How fearful are you? How do we figure this stuff out? Okay? It's asking questions, looking at your actions prior to. I also want you to do something else. I want you to ask people closest to you, your spouse, your kids, everybody that you can think of, okay, what they think your relationship to money is, and what they think that your relationship to fear and greed, and what your beliefs are, and your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, this is not a game. Okay, you got to dig down deep, and a lot of people that are closest to you are going to give you a better, true understanding of what greed really is. Okay, because fear and greed drive the world. Fear especially. Okay, especially fear. Okay, and you got to understand, do you have a deep-seated drive to be right all the time? Because if you do, we got to fix that too. Okay, now there's a saying that a lot of successful traders, famous traders say, is we typically trade our beliefs, and I completely agree with that. Okay, so do you think if you're going to trade your beliefs, it's important to know what those beliefs are and to make sure that maybe they're empowering beliefs? and maybe we want to look and see what the disempowering beliefs are, and maybe we want to find out what are the domineering beliefs that are really truly driving your decision making process. Okay. And look, I know this may seem like, oh man, this is really going to be digging deep. I know exactly how people are feeling right now. Okay, I know exactly how you're feeling. Oh, this is going to be painful. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what a belief is. I don't know what this is. This is going to be hard to do. No. Remember we said keep things simple and stupid, the KISS method? I'm not looking, you want to keep it simple and stupid. So what's the tool you're going to use to dig down deep to find some of these answers? It's very simple. It's asking yourself questions. I am questions. I feel questions are good ones. Stories and metaphors, are another good questions to use, right? And you also want to look ask people that are closest to you. So when I say stories and metaphors, do you ever say, are you a glass half full guy or are you a glass half empty? There's truly people are your glass half full or glass half empty. What kind of, are you pessimistic or optimistic? Okay. Both of them have positive traits and both of them have negative traits depending where you're using them in trading. Okay. And then when you start digging down to some of these beliefs, okay, you want to start seeing whether or not there's any emotions attached to these beliefs, okay? Because that could be an issue, right? We all have this desire for pleasure and to avoid pain. And it's going to be, really interesting when you start getting into some of this stuff. Do I have, am I doing this because am I not doing this because it's painful, or am I, and the key is, can you change your beliefs truly? Sure, absolutely. Think about it like this. Okay, I already gave you the example of myself, right? About 20 years ago, went to a seminar, and I became a vegetarian, at least as far as red meat and chicken and stuff like that. Really, truly a pescatarian. And it's the only thing that really stuck from that seminar, right? But today, 20 years later, I still, have not eaten a piece of red meat or a piece of chicken, okay? And I look at it and I'm like, because I had some weight challenges, trying to lose weight, and all this stuff, but how come I could still not eat meat all these years? And the reason is because it became part of my identity. It's now would be more painful for people to see me eat meat because I know I've had myself out there as that's who I am, than if I did eat if I didn't eat the meat, right? So if I ate the meat, it's more painful for people to see that. So that's what you got to do when you change some of these beliefs. You got to see, the pain and fear. I mean, think about it. Has anybody drank out? I give you an example. When I was in college, I used to love Southern Comfort, right? And I used to drink it all the time. But there, I had that one night, right, that I went out and had a little too much Southern Comfort to the point where things were coming up, and it was such an emotionally attached night that when I used to look at Southern Comfort, I used to love it. Now I can't even, still to this day, it's probably 40 years later, 30 years later, I can't even look at Southern Comfort without getting a nauseous feel in my stomach. Okay, so that's an example of, yeah, man, you can change this stuff. Okay, it all comes down to what you link to that belief and what you link to that action. So all is not for naught, as far as that's concerned. So the key tool you're going to have is, you're going to ask yourself questions, and you want to identify skills and relationships to trading as you're going through this. So if you're thinking about patience and whether you have patience or not patience, you want to think about how does that relate to trading and how will that relate to trading. So, make sure you do that. And so really what I want you to do is just create a list, guys, a list of some beliefs, right? You're going to create a list of some beliefs, or a list of some positive and negative traits that you feel that you have. You're going to sit down, kind of visualize it, how it may affect your trading. And you're going to ask other people around you what they think the answers are, right? And I'm going to give you a place online that you can go, right, and have a personality trait done online for free and get some answers that way. So you're going to have a lot of ways to kind of get some of these answers, okay? And then once you have your list, I want you to decide, is this belief that's going to help me, or is this a disempowering belief? What does this belief do? You got to answer those questions for yourself. Analyze it. And then if you want to change that belief, the key is you need to get leverage on yourself, change the pattern, and replace it with a new empowering belief. And make it part of your identity and anchor it with pain and pleasure, to where it's more painful to go back to that belief compared to the new empowering belief. Okay? That's how you change a belief. Now that, again, we're trying to keep this thing simple and stupid right now. And I truly want to keep it simple and stupid. So right now, all I want you to do is start doing an inventory of yourself, man. Get yourself in alignment. And I know a lot of you have probably never done this part before. You probably shied away from this part. And I want to keep it simple. Make a list of your beliefs. Make a list of all your positive personality traits, right? And then, see how they are effective, could be affecting your trading once you get into your trading system. And, it's going to be an ongoing process. Okay, and as you get into it, remember I talked about experimentation and experience. Well, you're not gonna have this thing down pat right in the beginning. You're gonna be constantly evolving and changing things, but you want to have a good start, and this is a good way to get yourself in alignment, right? It's a good way to get yourself in alignment, so that you're really, you got a good base going forward, man. When you have, I'm telling you, once you do this, to get in alignment is a freeing feeling, man. When you're really moving, think about when something's moving in sync and everything, 2 + 2 = 6 instead of 2 + 2 right now may equal 1 for you, okay? Because when you're not in alignment, think of gear shifts, right? You got a gear shift, and you got the turbine, and you need all the gears in alignment to really keep and smoothly move that, maybe that power turbine forward, right? Well, if any of the gears are out of alignment, man, it starts sputtering and spewing smoke, and oil goes everywhere, and you're maybe even moving forward, but you're slowly moving forward like you're stuck in quicksand. That's what it's like to be out of alignment, and that's a metaphor, right? So remember what we talked about. Think about some of the stories and metaphors you may use in your life. Think about the self-talk that you do with yourself. All of this stuff, take time to actually look at it. Okay, get yourself in alignment, because what you're going to do is you're going to start creating momentum. This course, okay, is going to create momentum for you. And momentum, I'm not talking about momentum in trading, because we know how powerful that could be in trading. Momentum in life is powerful, right? So the key is, don't skip any parts of this. I don't care how hard it may be, how painful it may be, how, lack of knowledge and whether you really know what you're doing. Who cares? Just do it, right? Because doing every part of it is going to give you momentum. And by the time we come out of this course, you are going to have such a base and foundation. It's going to be rock solid, that momentum is just going to shoot you off. And, all of a sudden it's going to click for you. And then when that happens, it's going to be exciting, because, now you're going to have such a good base that, you cannot fail. Okay, so that's the key. But to start grinding those gears already by missing portions of the course and not doing this and not doing that, that doesn't work. Okay, don't allow ego to become part of who you are. People that have ego are people that have low self-esteem and have insecurities. Okay, I talked about this in another class. Ego is the biggest driver of people that, that will take people down. Okay, don't have an ego and think things are below you. Go for, create that momentum. Just start very easily. Okay, and as far as changing a belief, we'll get to that part, and really, I encourage you to Google Tony Robbins because I won't give him justice, right? There's a bunch of free stuff on YouTube, has free everything, right? And he has the Ebenezer Scrooge system, and I thought it was great, especially this time of year, right? Christmas time. Ebenezer Scrooge went through the biggest state shift and belief shift change than right in front of anybody. Did a whole movie on it, right? You had that, the story, Ebenezer Scrooge, right? He had a rough past, right? And so he linked that getting close to someone caused pain to him, right? So, and then he also linked, so he didn't really, he would always push people away, and he was a grouchy old person, right? And then he linked that, pushing people away and having that pain made him rich, right? Because he had all this money, more money than anybody in town. But what he didn't realize is it wasn't the pain that really linked and made him rich. It was the fact that he was always working at his desk. He worked harder than anybody else, right? That's what made him rich. But the problem is in our mind, your mind believes anything, right? And you can link, even stuff that's not true, right? And so, what happened to Ebenezer Scrooge? Well, he had 3 neuroconditioned specialists show up at his house, right? And helped him link massive pain to the processes of what he was thinking to help him scratch that record and change his belief systems. So, Google it because, Tony does it a lot better. And I just, that's just a summary of really what it's about. But you can do that, right? I also said that you can take a personality test online. VIA character survey. Go right online. I put the link in here. We'll try to drop the link later into our chat. You can go right on here. Take it's a 20. They defines 24 character strengths that fall into 6 groupings of virtues. Okay, and it's a pretty good test. It's free. Take it. A lot of traders do it. Brett Stiebarger would recommends. He put it out on his blog post as far as doing it. So definitely go through it. It'll help you answer these questions. And I'll tell you what, a lot of these things work. These personality tests. So what really and some of these were really an eye opener. And can be an eye-opener. When I first started, when I was building a business, I kind of left Wall Street, came back up to Maryland, and I was building some businesses and stuff. And, I had a couple failures in the beginning, just like anybody else, right? When you go out and start building a business, you don't realize that, one of the most important parts of building a business is somebody actually has to run the business, right? And most people, fail that part of the business side of things, right? That's why you see successful people that were good technicians come and try to start a business and fail. So, I had a couple failures there, and, I took this personality test. It was the one I took was the Colby, and it showed, it was incredibly accurate. It showed that, it had green, red, blue, all these colors, right? And it showed that I was a visionary, and that I was like the highest they had ever seen green. Like, I was like, and the way she explained it to me made me understand myself as a person, that I was a visionary, that I could really come up with the ideas and put them all together and put a plan together, right? But when it came to the technician on this or that, that was a stronger suit for bringing a red person in to the organization. And it really, I tell you what, it changed me so much that the business I was building at the time, somebody come in and wanted me to help, was referred to me to build a business, that within the next 8 months, I built that business into a $32 million a year business, okay, to where I was pulling in, well over, $500,000 a month. And it was all because I had took this personality test and things clicked for me, and I understood myself, and I put myself in alignment, and I just took off from there to where I had issues in the past. And so this stuff is important, man. It's important for success. And there's a reason only a small amount of people are successful in this world. You can see why, because it's not easy. Okay, it's not easy. And so, some things, some final things that you want to look at, right? So when you're taking inventory of yourself and you're looking at some of the maybe traits and stuff like that, you want to relate them back to trading like we talked about and see if there's any incongruencies. So I'll give you an example here. So let's say patience, right? Patience is one of the one of your things, right? And so this is kind of how it works. Okay, so patience. Okay, well, let's say that I have a lot of patience. And so, maybe I can adapt that to, swing trading, because ideas take a little slower to develop. You need some patience, and, I'm kind of good with the slower pace. If that's it, then maybe swing trading is the way I want to look at that. Is scalping or day trading really maybe something good for me? It could be. Patience could play in that as well. But the point is, you want to see, how that works. If I don't have patience, do I want to be swing trading? Possibly not, right? And then you want to see the incongruencies. Let's say that I have a lack of patience, so I really feel, I think I need to scalp. I need to be in and out, man. I have no patience. I can't hold trades worth anything, okay? But I also have a trait of security. And, I need self-validation. Well, they're conflicting, contradictory traits right there, right? So, if I'm looking for some security, I may not want to be scalping like that. So what you need to do is really, rectify and resolve that contradiction. And you need to see really is there one of them that's more dominant? Can you change one of them? And maybe if patience, the lack of patience is more dominant, security's there, but maybe it's more in a different part of your life, that you can at least put that security portion into your risk management plan, so hey, that's something that's important to me, so my losses need to be X. Okay, so it's not that you can't do something, it's that you got to take them both, and you got to understand where the contradictions and where they both may play within your trading plan. Now, distinction principles that you need to look at, a couple of distinction principles. And I got this from Brett Steelbarger. Success draws upon strengths. Okay? So, market participants who enjoyed long and successful careers usually are strong in one or more character strengths. Okay? And they really they are drawn and utilizing those strengths tremendously. Okay, poor performance in markets often follows from a failure to understand and utilize one's strengths. Now, notice poor performance. I didn't say really anything about weaknesses right there. Okay, so the key is you want to channel those strengths into a daily work process. Okay, a daily work process that is going to basically not make you frustrated, and to utilize those strengths to help you become successful. Okay, poor performance in markets often follows from an overutilization of signature strengths. So you got to be careful. You can't be too cocky. If you are able to really, the glass is half full and you're an eternal optimist, you don't want to overutilize that trait and stay past your stop losses and think, hey, I'm an optimist. This stock is definitely coming back. Right? So, poor performance, again, can, come from an overutilization of those strengths. Now, also there's the development of successful traders hinge on the cultivation of your strengths. Okay? So a lot of people, I see this a lot. They feel, I got to know my weaknesses because I got to work on my weaknesses. No. Your weaknesses, you're always going to have weaknesses. You get what you focus on. You get what you focus on. I'm going to say it again. You get what you focus on. You are going to want to spend your time honing in and developing those middle strengths that are going to help you become a better trader. Your weaknesses will always be there. They are going to be there and being dealt with because you identified them through your risk management system. Okay? So you're not ignoring your weaknesses. It's just that, you're going to want to spend your time wisely. And then successful styles of trading is an expression of a cluster of strengths, which is true. If you see a successful trader, and you see a successful style, it's an expression of strengths. Now, no one is going to solve all their issues in one sitting. It will be an ongoing process. This is just the start. So I do not want this to overwhelm you to the point where you have inaction, you don't move forward, and you just drop out. You need to start this process. You need to start very simply in your journal and just make a decision to either spend one night this week, 2 hours, or an hour even, just an hour, sitting down in peace, no one bothering you to go through it, or make a decision, for 15 minutes every night, I am in peace going to sit down and think this through. Because you got to Sunday to get through this process, okay? Not in one day. So I want you to start this process, come up with a plan of how you're going to be able to sit in peace and go through and finally try to get yourself in alignment and figure out your beliefs. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this drawn, elaborate thing. Just start the process, man. Start it. Start putting them down, asking people, asking your family. Just go all out with it. Go all out with it, and let's make it work. And we're a mentorship group together. We get together on Sundays where we can get together and go through it together. Okay? You don't have to be in this by yourself. So the last thing I want to do and talk about, very last thing, 5 minutes, is talk about developing your inner strength. Okay? Because, to be successful in trading, you gotta be a strong person with some internal strong processes. You gotta have some internal strength, man. Okay? Because when the going gets tough, and it's going to get tough, even with the lessons we're trying to have you guys, avoid, it's going to get tough. It's going to be hard. You're going to get worn out. You're doing other things, working another job. You're going to want to say, man, I just don't know I can get there. Don't do it. Don't be part of the majority that will drop out. Don't do it. You need to do it now. Start developing your inner strength. Opportunity, this is an opportunity that has fallen in your lap, okay? Take it as such and run with it. Don't give in. We're into week number 2. Develop that inner strength. It's a muscle, okay? And loosely defined, it's a wide range of mental and emotional resources that keep you stable and adaptable in life, okay? I'll give you an example of one of my failures, okay? Because, I told you in trading, you gotta love losses, right? Because that's where you learn, man. When I have a loss, I know I'm about to learn something. You don't learn anything from gains. Okay, so stop it. I'll give you an example in my life of a loss, of a business loss. That same business I told you about, where I built that business up, to where, it was a pretty successful business. Well, I also had the situation where we went to go sell that business, and the person I was helping build that business with and build it up for, decided that, he was going to go off on his own, and, one of the people we brought in to buy it wound up being a con man. And he wound up, cutting everybody off around him and selling that business to that con man, which wound up crashing the business and making that revenue stream instantaneously disappear. Okay? Well, inner strength is, I had 2 choices at that point, right? Money stream, gone overnight. Okay? What I did and what he did was 2 completely different things. What I did was, I knew, I can't focus on what happened. I can't focus on the person that did it to me. I needed to go and right at that point, rebuild and do it quickly. And I moved on immediately to the point where within 6 months, we were back up and running, building a new business. Okay, and I was able at that time to pull away and start one of my other funds, which is what I wanted to do anyhow, and get out of that business side of the business. And it was ultimately a better success for me going forward. Okay, why was I able to do that? Because I had an inner strength and a belief that, A, I've done it before in my life, so I had that validation and I could do it again. I had a good support system and I was able to forgive easily. I didn't focus in on the defeat, okay? My happiness is not dependent upon a business. It's not dependent upon money. It's not dependent upon any of that stuff, okay? I had a tough, and I have always had a tough inner strength. You need to develop a tough inner strength if you're going to be a successful trader, because I can tell you now, you may run into a string of 20 straight losing trades. Okay? It may happen. It will happen. So what are you going to do when you think all of a sudden you're the worst trader in the world and you have lost money, you have lost on 20 straight trades, and you going to pack up your bags and go? Or are you going to have inner strength to get around and solve the issue and get back to profitability? Okay? And the way you develop inner strength is you need to use empowering rules. Okay? You need to have some empowering rules that rule you. You need to have high standards. Okay? And you need to take responsibility. You, no matter where you are in your life, where you are today in every area of your life is a result of all the choices and decisions that you made, whether you like it or not. I don't care if people stole money from you. I don't care what happened. You are where you are because of the choices and decisions that you have made in your life. So you need to take responsibility for them. Okay? And above all, discover your purpose. Turn your shoulds into musts. Let go of disempowering stories. Have a direct focus. Anchor your previous experiences. Your mind will believe anything. So your beliefs gotta have strong tabletops. They gotta have a lot of strong legs. So make sure when you create a belief and you have your beliefs, your mind, you can make shit up. Okay? Your mind believes it. So you might as well make good stuff up rather than bad stuff. Because most people are doing it anyhow. Man, you suck as a trader. Man, why did you do that? Man, you're stupid. You know, think about the internal dialogue people tell themselves. And yet they're afraid when I bring this up to say something positive. It may not be true. Your mind's going to believe it. You might as well give it something good. And then set yourself up for success. Okay? Because you got to have this inner strength, man. You got to have the inner strength to be a good trader. All right, homework. Take some time, sit down, write down all your beliefs you can think of, categorize your strengths and weaknesses, list any beliefs that you may want to change. Also, you know, what are you changing them to? What's the new empowering beliefs that you're going to replace them with? Okay? Create a plan for how you're going to deal with your weaknesses and insecurities. Okay? See how it's going to affect and be a part of your trading plan. Create that final trading plan belief section in the trading plan. Okay? So it's another section that we're putting together. There's trading beliefs. You're going to have these beliefs in there. Okay? And remember, just get started. It's an ongoing process, man. You can be good at this, okay? The rewards are tremendous. You can be very good at this. So follow through. Don't just, let it go by the wayside. Be a good trader, be a good person, and the rewards are going to follow you. That's the result. Thanks again. Look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.